My name is Todd Kurth, and I also go by Kong Li. That's my Chinese name for when I did medical translation in China, and had a physician liaison company in Guangzhou. Yesterday when I talked about my healing journey, I jumped around a little bit between like 2019 and 2023, especially with the digital grass. Like grass started to look digital at night, which was interesting in 2019. But I'm going to go back even further. This was after I broke my neck in 2012. Went through a divorce and started dating a different person. But I was on my way back to China in 2014. And I didn't know if I was going to be meeting my soulmate, or I heard I was going to meet a soulmate eventually in this lifetime. It wasn't the one, but I was working in a nail salon in Chapel Hill. And I was doing nails, and a customer came in. Her name was Megan, MCQ. She was psychic, intuitive, that was being led there. I believe she was in Wilmington for a meeting with other psychics, and was intuitively led to drive all the way to Chapel Hill, and came into my salon, or my friend's salon where I was working. And I was the only one in there that wasn't with a customer. She sat down and she started telling me about my past, about my dog, Nemo. She was led there by my guardian angel, Samual. Samuel has been trying to get me to, I guess, level up. And I was not following or listening to the messages. She told me that he's always been around me. He'll be with me to the end. I've always had a fear of dying for some reason, drowning and being burned. It was from past life persecutions. But when he said to her to tell me that he'll be there when I transition, and I won't be alone when I die, that triggered something inside me that cleared out that phobia from being persecuted, and worried about being, dying alone with no one around. That was a remarkable time when she was led to go talk to me. I asked her, because I couldn't see Samuel at the time, I asked her like how's this next stage of my life going to go? Who am I going to be meeting? Is this the one that I'm supposed to be on my final journey with? This woman that I was going over there to meet? And she told me that Samuel said no. It's just it's a different journey. And that made me realize that we're here on our journeys. We don't get the whole script of a good way and a bad way. It's like they're all good ways, because if we don't learn our lessons into certain people and from different people, you'll have the new lesson with a different person. And I needed to learn how to set boundaries with narcissists, and that was my life lesson, the big one that I needed to learn. So the divine didn't tell me that, no, this isn't the right one, this is a lesson. So that was something I needed to learn later on. So we have to go through the lessons. There's no way to bypass it. Learn it, and you won't have to go through it again. And they might retest you, but when you learn your lesson, that test is going to be passed. So that's when I met Samuel for the first time. I asked if I have ever seen him before, and she kind of gave me a description, and then I remembered I was going through opiate withdrawal. I broke my leg in 2006 on a motorcycle accident, and my ankle was a talus fracture. And I met him when I was going through withdrawal at night. I ran out of medicine, and I wasn't going to get another refill for like 2 days. So I had to go through a restless leg syndrome, and that withdrawal really sucks. And there was a man with gray hair, big white beard, and a robe in my room, coming towards me with their arms out. It scared the crap out of me, really. I mean, I was alone in my house, and then this bearded white guy is walking towards me looking like Moses. And I was sweating, and then he just disappeared. That was Samuel trying to comfort me through a withdrawal from opiate. Well, I was going to be lifelong on opiates, because there's nothing they could do for my leg and the neck and the other problems at the time. So I was just, they were going to call me like a lifelong opiate user, because there's no way around. I couldn't walk without it, because it's constant bone on bone grinding, which is gone, by the way. I'm not on any opiates whatsoever anymore. Since I took up this spiritual journey, I'm off of all opiates. I was on fentanyl, morphine, oxycodone, for a long time, since 2006, and I finally got off all of pain meds in 2023, and then I just got off of nicotine. Nicotine was one of the worst ones. Really was one of the worst ones. Because we need to make sure our vessels are pure. And, but now I'm kind of jumping around too much, but let's go back to 2014 when I was with Megan, MCQ, at the nail salon in Chapel Hill, before I was going back to China to set up Zion NC. It was a physician liaison company with my girlfriend at the time, who was a narcissist. I didn't set up boundaries with her. I thought we were going to be a power couple. That really fell through. But it's a life lesson. I needed to learn it. We divorced a year later. I had to marry her because she blamed me for losing her J1 visa, because I asked her to come to take me home from the hospital after my spinal cord surgery. And she left school. She was teaching at CUA, Catholic University of America in DC. And she had a car in DC. She had a car in China. I had no idea that she did not have a license and did not know how to drive and did not know how to cook. It was like I had to take care of her, me, and drive at the same time. Talk about a crazy experience. When I didn't know she didn't know how to drive until we were leaving the hospital. The nurse wheels me out. She had to go get the car. She got the car, drove around to the emergency room. The nurse gets me in the passenger seat. She gets in the driver's, drives my car maybe 20 feet forward, and then tells me she didn't know how to drive. That scared the mess out of me. I got into the driver's seat. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, we were at home in the driveway. Not a scratch. I don't remember anything about it. I didn't know this. It was one of the times that our guardian angels can go into our bodies and take over. And literally that's like having Jesus at the wheel. It's Samuel took over my body, drove us home safely, and when I opened my eyes, that was it. That was the first time that has ever happened to me. There was another time where Samuel caught me when I fell off a platform backwards. And that was with my friend Anthony Wise in Goldsboro. We were moving stuff around on a loading dock, and we were carrying a beam of wood, stepped off the loading dock backwards, and fell like 5 feet onto my butt backwards, and it was the slowest and softest fall I've ever experienced in my life. And Anthony was across from me watching the whole thing happen. He couldn't explain it either. It was actually Samuel held me up and gently sat me down, because it could have ended bad, because the beam we were carrying was over 200 pounds, and falling off that backwards would not have been pleasant. So sorry for jumping around again, because the beam part didn't happen until 2022. So in 2014 I left to go back to China to start up as INNC. That marriage was horrible. Once you got a green card, it was like night and day. So that was over really quick. I met another lady that I felt bad for. My third wife. I just wanted to marry her so she'd go back and see her father. He was dying of stage 4 lung cancer, and she was stuck here on a visa that was an asylum visa. When you come into America with asylum, you're not allowed to return to your country you came from. So she couldn't see her father. And that was really killing her inside. So we started dating, and I just felt bad for her. I was like, well, I'll marry you, and that'll change it to a fiance visa, and you can go back home. And then we could work on a relationship or get a divorce later on. Which, gosh, I should have never done that. I mean, I did, love her eventually, but I didn't learn my lesson from the last narcissist, which was it was a lesson I didn't learn from my father, because my father was a narcissist. I liked to beat me and my brother quite a bit, and I didn't notice that he would hit us and then say it hurt him worse, and he'd say little slogans like "spare the rod, spoil the child," and then I noticed he would always look around to see if anybody was looking. When I got older, he just would start punching me in the car. My brother was already gone at the time. When I got into high school, it was usually just my arms, because they would, hide it from the shirt being bruised. But that was my father. He was a tough one. I didn't learn to set boundaries with him either, till it was way too late. But luckily, my third was the one that did it for me. I learned self-love and to set up boundaries with narcissists. So that's the great thing about the universe. And no matter what, you'll repeat the lesson until you learn it. And for empaths, when we overgive, overhelp to our detriment, we're not loving ourselves enough. And nobody would appreciate it either. And empaths get preyed on by narcissists. And that we're there to learn from the narcissist. And the narcissist is supposed to learn from the empath, but usually that doesn't happen because everybody has to pull away from a narcissist. Because with a narcissist, nobody is at fault. I mean, they're not at fault. It's everybody else is at fault. They're never willing to take the blame for themselves. And as an empath, I would always rationalize it, which was to my detriment. Saying, well, maybe it would be different if it was a different circumstance, and give them a benefit of the doubt. You know, all I was doing was digging my own hole by taking on their karma. But not setting up boundaries and not loving myself enough to protect myself from a narcissist. Let's go into when I met Selena and we got married. She was the transition for me. We got married. She hardly ever lived with me. She was back and forth to China a lot, seeing her father and taking care of him. She has a big family, so she was always working and then sending them back money. In 2019 was when everything started to switch internally inside me, and I noticed grass was the physical thing I could notice that was different. And the ability to know people were lying intuitively, know intuitively when people were being deceptive and casting blame. It came to a point where it got so good that I would know why and who they were taught to lie from and the reasons they would lie. These were things that the universe helped teach me when it came to protecting myself. And it basically prevented me from watching the news because, oh my God, it was horrible. TV was horrible, especially in 2019. In 2001, when I was in New York, I was being intuitively led to go to a Buddhist temple in Queens and ask a question. It was on my mind for over a year, and it was asking a question with a cup of sticks, and you say it in your head, and you just shake the cup of sticks until one of the sticks comes out of the cup and falls into the table. I did that, and the answer that I heard as soon as the stick fell out was yes. The question I asked, am I the reincarnation of Buddha? And as soon as I heard the answer, yes, to myself, I said, fuck, this sucks. The reason why I was thinking that was my higher self said yes. I could hear that. It was not my consciousness. I, to myself, said fuck, because I knew my life was over. I couldn't go back to just chilling and watching movies, playing video games and having fun anymore. Having fun the way I used to. I knew my life was going to change. And then the second part was, somebody's going to try to kill me. That was like the next thing that came to my mind. So I didn't say anything to anyone. I was kind of scared about it. I talked to the monk. I got a red little slip of paper that came with, when the stick came out, and said somebody would meet up with me in 1 year as a teacher to help guide. Because we're all here to learn, and we're all here to teach. We learn from each other, and we teach each other. It's a circle. Nobody is above any of us. Nobody's below any of us. We're all equal. We're one big collective. We just have different journeys. We're on different parts where we're learning different lessons for our soul's growth. And that's the time period in 2021. This is January 2021, where I needed to go into Buddhism and learn how to align my chakras and clear out the ego, so I know what is the difference between ego and your consciousness. Because your ego is going to cause you to be in fear. Your consciousness isn't. Your consciousness is only going to be of love and light. Your ego is there to protect you from trauma, but fear is what keeps you from progressing and moving forward in life, because you'll just be stuck in the corner crying and too fearful to go out and progress past where you already are, because change is hard at that point. You don't look to do it. So I had to learn how to navigate that. You don't want to cancel out the ego, because the ego is there. That's part of our shadow self that we have to overcome. So we want to merge the dark with the light. And we need both. It's a balance. There's duality. There's duality in life. There's duality inside of ourselves. We are balancing masculine and feminine energies inside of ourselves. We want to do things not in excess. That's why addictions are so difficult to work through, because we can do anything we want to do. Anything. But as soon as it becomes a habit, then it's detrimental, and then you gotta clear it out. Some things are easier to become more of a habit. I mean, some things we don't even think about become a habit, like overeating, eating for comfort. That's an addiction, and that it sends the scale, the balance, out of whack. You're not in balance anymore. Taking drugs, smoking, those are things that are difficult to rebalance, because they're easy to overdo. So once I started to balance that out, work on my chakras, I was able to get clear messages, and I was being told by the universe to divorce, like literally divorce my wife. It's like I couldn't wait any longer. I must move on, because I have a divine counterpart that I'm supposed to be with later on in life. So telling her that I had to divorce her because the universe said it was a little difficult. She did not like that, and she was vibrating at a very low frequency, and that was the first time I've ever seen a demon come out of a person. We were upstairs watching TV, talking, and I told her that I'm moving on in a different direction in life, and we're not going to be together anymore, and then I'd have to divorce her. She started shaking, like back and forth, just like in a movie, when you see it in a movie. It was freaky. And these are parts of, I recorded it because after the demon came out, she grabbed a knife and started to kill me and my dog. So it's happened in the past, but I never saw a demon come out before with anyone. This is my first one. And they didn't want me moving on in life because they knew they would fail their mission. I didn't know that at the time. This was later on. So the demon came out, grabbed a knife. These are actually images of when I recorded it, because I started recording it after she grabbed the knife and wouldn't let me and my dog like leave the room. That got scary. That week ended safely. And I ended up finally divorcing somebody that I could never really find out where she was. It was very difficult because she would travel all over the country and back to China. So you can't serve a person divorce papers. You can't locate them. That took a while. But that made me find out that when you're dealing with lower entity, lower vibrational people, that you need to be concerned. It's not them that are truly bad. They're there for the lesson. But when you operate at a low vibration, entities can enter that body as well and be even more of a devil on the shoulder, whispering into their ear, and can actually take over if they're operating in real sadness and depression and with a huge burden of lack, like she was. She was operating very, very low, and she was crying. When you get super depressed, it's just a door that opens and allows lower vibrational spirits in. Always try to keep yourself high vibrating. Happiness, joy, compassion for one another. Go outside in nature, hug a dog or a cat. They're excellent transmuters of negative energy. The environment is everything outside, everything, trees. I love grounding myself in sand at the beach and clearing my energy in the ocean. It's just, it feels like it removes the weight off your shoulders for the day. No more negative energy around you. You just feel great. So I divorced Selena. I went in more meditative practices. I tried to learn different modalities. Reason why God asked me to go into Buddhism at that time was I wasn't listening to them, my higher selves, like I should, the divine like I should. Angels, they don't really talk to you unless it's something direct, because they're there to serve us. But your higher selves are there, like lagging you down left and right, trying to keep us on track. But if it's not a blessing, it's just a lesson, and there's nothing wrong with either. I mean, period. We have to learn our lessons before we get our blessings. Learning to line my chakras, that came in handy, getting the aura photographed and the vibration analyzed. Also, when I don't have any crystals on, I vibrate at around 1.2 million to 900,000 hertz, which is extremely high. I'm not balanced, still unbalanced. I'm still working on that. I'm working on my root chakra. I'm having trouble grounding. So I got to ground. When I meditate, I usually have to meditate in a collective because it doesn't, there's some blockages that are there. But when I meditate in group settings, it's just amazing, really amazing. The universe is so beautiful, so beautiful. So let me go, and I want to say namaste to everyone. I love you all, and I hope you have a blessed evening. Until my next journal entry tomorrow.